I tinted my eyebrows and it's amazing how much smaller my forehead looks because of it. Hi everybody! Welcome back to another video. If you're new, thanks for joining us. If you are a returner, thanks for returning. So, back when the Sims Revolution happened, when was it? Like a month ago? I don't know. Time has no meaning to me anymore. I kind of realised that there were some people in the world who are not as old as me. Oh yeah, I kind of realised there's people in the world who are not as old as me, or who just didn't play video games back in the year 2000, and that they probably haven't played every single game and got really into the lore like I do, because I do that with every franchise that I'm interested in. In the words of one of my friends, I'm just nosy, and that nosiness makes me want to know everything about something. So I decided, based off that we would do a short or maybe long or however little series called The Sims Explained. I didn't mean to say that weird. The Sims Explained. So I'm going to take a family, a topic, a something, and explain the back history of it to you. And I want to start with the first ever Sims family, and that's the Newbie family. Little Bob, Betty, because Bob and Betty appear in every single Sims game. Well, the main four, and then they're in a couple of like console games in some capacity. There's only, I think, Daniel Pleasant and Bella and Mortimer Goth, I think, who are also in 1, 2, 3 and 4 in some way. We're going to go through everything in timeline order. So for those who don't know, it goes The Sims 3, The Sims 1, The Sims 2, and then The Sims 4 is in an alternative universe. And prior to The Sims 4, console games were a completely different story. They weren't in with the main games. I think it's only The Sims 4 where it's like the same thing. Basically, it's the exact same game but on console and PC. So we'll do that. So let's go on now. So we're going to start with The Sims 3 because that's where the story of The Sims starts. So in The Sims 3 we have Robert Newbie, Robert Newbie Senior, his wife Max Newbie, and then their teenage son Bob. Bob is the Bob. They live in Riverview, which is a downloadable neighbourhood for The Sims 3. So it wasn't one of the base ones, but you could download it, and I think it was free. So that was good. Maybe look on The Sims 3. So Robert Senior, he is in the athletic career. He loves the outdoors. He's a perfectionist, an angler, a computer whiz, and friendly. And then Max, who's rocking some fantastic green eyeshadow there. She's in the culinary career. She's brave, family orientated, a natural cook, artistic, and she's lucky. And then Bob Jr., at the time you start playing the game, he's a high school student, a B grade, so fairly okay. He's artistic, like his mum. He's also a bookworm, good, and a slob. The backstory for the family is that they are relatively new to Riverview. Bob Sr. is into the outdoors and he's an angler, so they moved there for his interests. Bob Jr. is having a very hard time adjusting to his life in Riverview until he becomes best friends with a very nice little girl who is known as Betty Simovich. Some backstory for Betty, because she's, at the end of the day, part of the family. She also obviously lives in Riverview with her family. She has her parents who are Fatima and Vadim Simovich. As is a trend within the older Sims game, which is something that I do have a problem with, there's a lot of cases where female Sims have given up their live streams to become mothers, which... Okay. So Betty's mother, Fatima, dreamt of being a rock star when she was younger, but then gave it up to have a family. So, but now she's a bit one of those pushy parents where she pushes those dreams onto her daughter, and she expects Betty to do that as well. So Betty in The Sims in The Sims 3, she's artistic, like Bob. She's good, unflirty, and then a
virtuoso.
You know, where they're really good at music. So, and then her father, Vadim, he's in the science career. He's a couch potato. He's family orientated, easily impressed, and a heavy sleeper, and he's also good. And then her mother, Fatima, she's in the business career. Boring, I know. Artistic, charismatic, flirty, over emotional, and a snob. So there you go. Sims 3. That's pretty much it. When you start playing it, Bob Jr. and Betty aren't in a romantic relationship, but so you are able to if you don't like the pairing, you can take them off in different directions, but that's not what the law says. So then we move on to The Sims 1, the original Sims. They are the tutorial family, for those that don't know. You can go and watch my video where I do the tutorial if you want. I'll put a link in the description or below. I don't know what I'm talking about. So then you've got Bob and Betty. It's just them two. They're living at Sims 7 Lane, which you can see in my background is there. I've circled it for you. Not far from the big house. When you play it, as we found, they're not technically in love. They are friendship level in The Sims, but obviously if you work through the game, they are. They're technically married. So there you go. Because they're a tutorial family, it's up to you to get them in love, get careers. So there's not really a whole lot of lore behind them, but that's something that tends to be in The Sims 1. There's not a lot. The Sims 1 was a very good foundation, and then The Sims 2 and 3 were like the bricks and mortar of the house on top of it. They built off it really well. There's no memory system. There's nothing like that in the Sims 1. But so there's not really much to say. Bob's an Aquarius, Betty's an Aries, because in The Sims 1 that's how it works. I can't remember what their point levels were, and I couldn't really find it anywhere online. I probably could have actually just watched my own video, but I didn't. According to the interwebs, Aries and Aquarius are very compatible signs for long-term love. So we know that Bet and Bob are made for each other, and we also know that I think Bet's the ideal woman in this game. Fun fact for you as well, Bob was the very first sim ever properly made when they were making The Sims 1. He was the very first sim made for the very first neighbourhood. That's probably where the name comes from, isn't it? And then we move on to The Sims 2. This is where, luckily, we got a lot for The Sims 2. We got a lot. So, Robert Sr., Mags, Betty's parents, Vadim and Fatima, along with Betty and Bob, they are in the game, but they are unplayable because they are all, unfortunately, dead. You can see them though, and we do have some knowledge of history behind them because their daughter is still roaming about The Sims 2. That's Brandy Broke. I forgot that she was their daughter, so that was a bit of remembrance for me. So for those that don't know who Brandy is, she's obviously the daughter of Bob and Betty Newbie. She has 3 children. She's married to Skip Broke, or was married because she's now a widow at the time that you start playing The Sims 2 if you start playing with their family. I will talk more about Skip, in the video that I'll probably do about the Broke family, simply because it's a lot and it doesn't really go into this. So, but we will talk about it. One thing that I can say is, yes, she's married to Skip Broke. They have 3 children who are Dustin, Bo, and then unborn baby. And it's basically because she's pregnant when you start the game, so you name the baby. Fan theory around the interwebs that I've heard a lot is that the baby is actually a clone of Brandy's through various means, which once again I'll discuss more in the Broke family video. But that theory, I think, comes from the fact that it's always born a boy, and that when you look behind the science lines in the game, which I don't understand, in the programming, Skip's genetic code isn't matched in with it. But then when I was doing this research, I found other things that basically that was an error. And it's because obviously Skip dies while she's pregnant. So That's why you can go through it if you're that inclined and match Skip's genetic code up to the baby, and then the baby will be born with both, and it could be a girl. So, my favourite theory for them, which once again, probably go more into it another time because we're coming away from the newbies, is that Brandy is a murderer. So Skip dies in what we know is a mysterious pool ladder accident. And I've seen a theory online that I very much enjoy, that basically Brandy found out that Skip was cheating on her, possibly with Bella Goth, but depends on what you feel about that. So she kills him and takes all his money, takes insurance money, which fares tears. When you actually play their family in The Sims 2, there isn't a pool ladder on their pool. Their pool ladder's mysteriously disappeared. So with them, because the older Sims are seen in the family tree, we do know something about them. So once again, The Sims 2 goes back onto the zodiac sign and aspiration. So Rob Senior is a Taurus and he has the romantic aspiration. Mags is a sexy Sagittarius and she has the knowledge aspiration. Bob Jr. is different from The Sims 1 in the fact that he's a Libra. I don't know why they didn't keep them the same, but they didn't. He has the romance aspiration. Betty is a Scorpio and she has the fortune aspiration. Her father Vadim is a Gemini and he has the fortune aspiration. Fatima is Libra with the romance aspiration, so basically Betty marries her mammy. And then Brandy is in Aries with the family aspiration. That's what we know about them. So, they live a good life, they got a good dynasty. Their daughter is a murderer. I feel it. So, now, the Newbie family, or at least Bob and Betty, they do appear in The Sims 4 as downloadable content. They're not actually in any of the neighbourhoods, which I think is an offence against people, but they're not. So in Feb 2019, Maxis recreated, or allegedly recreated, we'll get into that, The Sims 2 Pets console version of Bob and Betty. As I say, they appeared in some of the console versions as well. And the family includes Betty, Bob, and their dog, Buddy. So I think they did. I'm going to give you this to The Sims 2. I'm going to do them. They did all right with these traits. Bob in The Sims 4 is a slob. He's lazy and a bookworm. And then he has the additional trait of animal affection because his aspiration is friends of the animals. So not that dissimilar to what he was in previous games. Betty is creative, unflirty, and active. And she also has the Muser one because she has the musical genius aspiration. And then Buddy, as you can tell, is a Dalmatian. He's active, glutton, and loyal. If you don't have cats and dogs, you can still download the family, but it just removes Buddy out of it. And depending on the packs you have, the traits and aspirations might be slightly different because obviously, unflirty I think came with city living. So that's not a base game one. And obviously Bob's aspiration will change. So personally, I think they should have been put in a neighbourhood. I know Cats and Dogs came out in 2017 and they didn't come out until 2019. However, I seriously think the Sims team, they're just idiots, aren't they? Right from the get-go, they should have been adding in these old families because people said right from the get-go that they weren't happy with the lack of lore and stuff in the game. So right from the get-go, they should have been adding in these original families, at least bringing something back in. So, like with City Living, there is like a tower block called Alto Apartments. Why didn't the Alto family come back in? Why did you only bring Holly back in was it Get Famous? Holly came back in? I don't know. But there you go. That's my. I have already made my opinions very obvious in the fact that I hate it when they just bring in one random family member. So just Dustin, just Derek, just is his name Derek? Dirk? Just Holly, just Angela. I hate it. Anyways. So their story obviously doesn't end there. They were also in 3 console games. The Sims 1's for console, The Sims 2 for console, and The Sims 2 Pet for console. Now, this is why I do not believe that they modelled The Sims 4 family off The Sims 2 Pets. Because, I'm not being funny, I don't know who this man is. I'm loving life for him. But he's not the Bob Newbie we know. So in actual fact, I think The Sims 4 newbies are technically based off The Sims 1 console, and plus Buddy, who is haunted. That picture of Buddy's haunted, and it will live with me forever. I don't know if it has something to do with, in The Sims 2, both consoles, the pets and the base, Bob and Betty aren't married, then they're just acquaintances and roommates. But I don't know. We do have some other possible relations that I couldn't really find pictures of. That's mostly just because in The Sims Busting Out and The Sims 2 console version, when you go into cast to make a family, the default name is Pat Newbie and Chris Newbie, but for some reason they count, when I was looking online, everyone seems to count them as relatives, even though you can just change the name. And in The Sims 3 for the Wii, which I didn't even know that The Sims made it to the Wii. Obviously, there is a picture of Sims 2 Pets, but I found that after. There is a unplayable family, which is made up of Nathan Newbie, his wife Tammy, and they have 2 children. They live on Vista Beach. So they are possibly relations, possibly. And then there is in Lunar Lakes, which came for The Sims 3, and is set in the future to The Sims 3, like way in the future. There is a sim called Alistair Newbie, who is quite possibly a relation. The end. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was enlightening to some people. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you've learned something, and I hope you come back to see more and watch other videos and things like that. So yeah, subscribe if you haven't. Please like all of that. Maybe drop a comment of who you would like me to do next, because I did the Newbie family. I may have possibly broken my mic stand because I'm just gonna hold it, because I did the Newbie family because they're the first ever family that you come across, but I don't really know who to do next. Maybe we'll go in I think let me know. But yeah, thank you, and I love you, and I will see you all soon. Bye.